My name is Alex Gonzalez, and I am a senior, and I am a female wrestler. And there's a lot of videos going around on what wrestling means to me. And if you guys don't know this, they voted to remove Olympic wrestling in the 2020 Olympic Games. If you guys didn't know that. But, so, this is just a video on what wrestling means to me. I started off in 8th grade, and I was in that phase where I wanted to try something new. And I just thought, well, my brother did wrestling. It was his second year, and I was always there supporting him. I never really knew the rules, what's going on. I just always watched him his first year. The second year, I was an 8th grader, and I decided to try it, and I did. And my first practice, it was called Metro League. If you guys don't know what Metro League is, it's basically like wrestling for 5 to 14-year-olds. And I know there's middle school, but this one was a little bit more tougher, and they showed you a lot more stuff, and it was a lot more competitive. But anyways, my first practice was absolutely insane. Like, I was really out of shape, first of all, because I didn't do any sports before that. I tried soccer for a little while when I was little, and that was it. Volleyball in middle school too. But other than that, I never really fell in love, like I did with wrestling. So my first practice was absolutely devastating. I was so tired. I didn't really know any of the moves at all. I had such a hard time learning the moves. It took a lot of time, and they conditioned you really well. And I just remember I started crying, and I went into the hallway and I started crying, and I was like shaking and sweating because I was just so tired. But and then we did this game called King of the Mat, and basically you line up weight by weight, or like smallest to biggest, and you have to wrestle the first guy. And if you get a takedown, you move on to the next guy. And I remember this kid telling me that I was going to lose, and I started crying. I was just like sad, because like it was my first day of actually like wrestling, and I started crying. I didn't really have that mentality yet of a wrestler. But anyways, so I did it. I did the whole thing. I got more and more better. I had amazing coaches, amazing team, supportive friends, supportive family. It was amazing. And let's see. We made it all the way up. So basically there's districts, regionals, and championships. And I was 14, and I made 4th in districts, 3rd in regionals, and I didn't make it to championships. I made it to championships, but I didn't place because I lost. I was one away from winning a trophy and didn't make it. But I'm still very proud of myself for, doing my first year of wrestling, and it was so tough. But that's when I fell in love with it, and I decided to do it throughout high school. So my freshman year was a nightmare. I had 2 friends on the wrestling team. Both of them were girls. One of them was a wrestler with me in 8th grade in the Metro League. And I remember the first practice was a nightmare. We basically ran, and then we sprinted, and then we ran, and then we jogged, and then we sprinted. I've never done so many running in my life. And it that wasn't the worst practice. It got worse from there. But I remember I was shaking, and there was like 20 people throwing up, and I was so close to, but I was like, no, I gotta keep it in there. But I held through my own, though, you know, I never gave up, but there's times when I wanted to, definitely. So throughout the freshman year, I had to deal with a lot of sexism about being a girl. And I remember the team used to, you know, tell us that they didn't want us on the team because we were females. And I remember that they'd always just like, you know, wrestle us and be so hard and like try to hurt us because they wanted us to quit the team. And it was just so hard, and it was so, like, I used to go home and I used to cry every single day when I got home from wrestling practice. And, you know, it wasn't easy at all. And if you're a female wrestler out there, you know it's not easy. It's the hardest thing in the world. It's really hard, and you know it's very mentally damaging. But you know, I did love the sport so much that I stuck through it because I knew that if I quit, that's what they want. That's what they would have wanted, and they would have won, and I wasn't gonna let that happen. So, you know, I pulled out on my own. You know, I did everything I could to basically not quit, and I had my two friends. We didn't quit at all. They were amazing. They didn't quit. And we stuck through it together, all three of us, because we were all girls in a man's sport. And female wrestling has grown tremendously. There's so many girls out there doing it, and I respect every single one. Every time I go to one of my brother's tournaments, I see girls, and I'm like, I go up to them, I'm like, hey, good job. Because it's hard. It's so hard. And I'll always respect them. And I remember freshman year, a lot of people used to come up to me and tell me that I am so amazing and an inspiration to girls because I was on the wrestling team and it meant the world to me. And that's what kept me going too, you know, is that support. Knowing that outside of the wrestling room, people knew what I was doing. Even though, you know, even if I was getting my butt kicked, at least I was trying. And, you know, it was a really tough season that season. I won at least 2. I'm not gonna lie, because a lot of the guys were much more stronger. But I do remember this one time we did hall sprints in practice. And if you don't know what hall sprints are, it's where you sprint in the halls. Basically self-explanatory. But I remember we were doing it, and we had to do like 70, and each time you had to beat your time. Each time, like, you had to beat it, or else it doesn't count. And I remember I was crying, and I was like, I don't want to do this anymore, and I was breathing. I thought I was having an asthma, not an asthma attack, but anxiety, that's what I was going to say, anxiety attack. And my coach was like, you're fine, Alex, you can breathe. And I was like, no, I can't. But it definitely is an amazing experience that I went through my first high school, you know, wrestling year. And I'll never forget it. And that's one thing that's always going to be a part of me is wrestling. You know, wrestling is basically the sport that I love. And I'm training mixed martial arts because of wrestling, because wrestling got me to where I am today. And I'm always going to be proud of myself for, you know, sticking it out and actually going out there and doing a man's sport, you know. And I know there's so many people out there who, you know, are such good wrestlers, and, you know, that it means everything to them. You know, it means everything to me, and it means everything to them. And they could make it into the Olympics, and, you know, it's not going to be around, you know, because in 2020, because it's like, because they voted it, and I think it's bullcrap. And, you know, the UFC is also supporting it, so that's pretty cool. I like the UFC. But this is just my video on what wrestling means to me, and I hope that it inspires a lot of people to make videos and tell what wrestling means to them. So yeah, this is it. It's like 3 in the morning and I have nothing to do. So I thought I'd just make this video. So there you have it.